And we are live. Welcome back with Murphy Mac to another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast. We help you get started on your fitness journey. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great week. I know I'm recording the podcast a day late. That's on me. I'm slacking. Sorry, I got busy last night and couldn't do it. So we're doing it today. We're gonna get it in for y'all, regardless. But yeah, if you listened to last week's episode, we talked about the 2-day rule. So today, we're going to bring it back to that same kind of podcast topic, and we are going to talk about another rule. And today's rule is the 23-in-1 rule. So I don't know if that's the actual name of the rule. That's just what I'm calling it. That's what I'm referring to it as. And it's the 23-in-1 rule. Yeah, I've probably heard of this before. You may not have heard it called this before, but you definitely heard of it before. And the rule is, it's not about what you do the 1 hour that you're in the gym. It's about what you do. Well, let me rephrase that. It's important what you do the 1 hour in the gym, but it's also even more important what you do the other 23 hours of the day. So everybody knows there's 24 hours in the day. So you got 1 hour in the gym roughly on average, and then 23 hours the rest of the day. So it's arguably more important what you do in those other 23 hours of the day than what you do in that 1 hour in the gym. But I will say that 1 hour in the gym is still just it's still important. Like, don't think it's not important. It's still important. That's part of the process. But if you take the weight of all those other 23 hours, in my opinion, I would say they're even more important than what you do. We're going to get into why that is, how you can kind of use this rule to your benefit, even some ways you can use it like in other areas of your life as well. But like, this is a great rule, a great philosophy to live by. I'm going to break it down a little bit and explain why it's important so that you can use it to kind of help level up your fitness journey, help level up other areas of your life. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into it. Today's podcast is probably going to be quick and short, but we're going to get y'all everything y'all need to, kind of use this rule in your own life and take it and kind of benefit from it. So the 23-in-1 rule simply means it's not about the 1 hour you spend in the gym. It's about what you do with the other 23 hours of your day. So think about it. You go into the gym for 1 hour and you absolutely crush it. You killed it. You go hard. You're breaking a sweat. You lift heavy. You hit your cardio. You're checking all the boxes. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the hard thing. But if the rest of your day is filled with poor food choices, stress, lack of sleep, inactivity, then you're going to limit your progress when it comes to your fitness journey. Point blank, period. Like, yeah, you may be killing your workouts, but if you're not showing up for those other areas, those other 23 hours of your day, then you might as well not even go to the gym, if we're being honest. I mean, you're going to be you're not going to kill your gains or your progress, but you're going to limit them for sure. You're definitely not going to maximize your results if you're not maximizing those other 23 hours of your day. So think of fitness more of like a lifestyle. It's not just a 1 hour event. It's not just in the gym. Fitness is everything in your life, not just going to the gym. That's one small part of fitness, is going to the gym. It's one small part. And for most people, that's roughly 1 hour. For most people, about 1 hour. Some people less, some people more. It just kind of depends on what kind of workouts you're doing. So the gym is important. It is. Don't get me wrong. I love the gym. You need to be going to the gym. It's absolutely important. But it's only one small piece of the overall puzzle when it comes to your fitness journey. So why is it important? Why does this one rule matter so much? Well, in those other 23 hours of your day, one thing that you're going to be doing is recovery. And recovery happens outside the gym. We should know this by now. You're not recovering in the gym. You're breaking down your muscles in the gym. You're recovering outside of the gym. Muscles grow when you rest. Muscles grow when you're not training them. So if you're not getting quality sleep, if you're not hydrating, if you're not fueling your body properly, your workouts, you're not gonna see as good of results from them. You're not gonna benefit from the workouts as much. They're not gonna, translate into some, better results, real results. So recovery is key when you're outside the gym. You got to take your recovery serious. That's why we have off days. That's why you don't work out 7 days a week, or most people don't. Unless you're like an athlete, you may train 7 days a week. But for most people, I would not recommend training 7 days a week. And that's because rest and recovery is important when it comes to your fitness journey. If you're not recovering, then you're not going to make any progress, period. You got to let your body recover. And that's going to look different for different people. The more advanced you are, probably the less recovery you need. But yeah, that's one critical area of those other 23 hours of your day. Another critical area of those 23 hours of your day is nutrition. This is the big one. This is the one right here. Out of all of these, in my opinion, this is probably the most important one, because we all know and we've all heard by now that you cannot out-train a bad diet, period. And I used to think this. I used to think you could out-train a bad diet. I really did. And that's because I have a very high metabolism, and that's why I thought that. And that was just me being lucky and having a high metabolism and not gaining a lot of weight. But I also was very active and I worked out. I basically did 2-a-days for 8 years straight, all the way through high school, all the way through college. I worked out and I went to practice every single day. Like, it never failed. So I was very, very, very active, and I had a high metabolism. So I could get away with eating anything I want. And back then, I would have told you, yeah, I can out-train a bad diet. And that's just because I was way more active than what I am now. That's not most people. Most people aren't that active. Now, if you're in high school, if you're an athlete, you probably can get away with eating what you want, because you're going to be training a lot. You're going to be working out a lot. But for most people, for normal people, you can't out-train a bad diet, period. So what you eat during those 23 hours of your day, it's going to have a big impact. It's going to have a bigger impact than what you think. Calories, protein intake, your water, all of that's going to matter. It's going to matter more than you realize, because it takes a long time to burn a lot of calories. It really does. Like, track your workouts. See how many calories you burn in a workout. I think you'll be surprised at how few calories you burn during a workout. Like, when I do a weightlifting workout, I only burn like 300 calories. 300 for a normal workout. If I go really, really hard, I may burn like 500 max. That's max on a weightlifting session. Now, running, that's a little different. Cardio, you'll probably burn a little bit more calories depending on what you're doing or how long you're doing it. But yeah, you don't burn that many calories in a workout session. But guess what? It don't take no time to eat them calories. You could eat 1,000 calories in less than 5 minutes. Like, it don't take long at all. You could eat one little piece of junk food and eat 300 to 500 calories easy. And it don't take long at all. So those other 23 hours of your day, what you're eating during that time, is very, very, very important. You hear a lot of times people always say, like, abs are made in the kitchen. Well, the reason they say that is because in order to get leaner, to lose weight, it's going to matter what you're eating, what you're putting in your mouth, what you're putting in your body. So it's very, very important to dial in your nutrition during your day, period. For any goal that you want to hit, whether that's losing weight, whether that's gaining weight, whether that's training for a certain athletic event, a certain say you're training for a marathon, triathlon, whatever. Like, what you're eating, your fuel that you're providing your body is very important for whatever you go. It don't matter what your goal is. Nutrition is going to be pretty much number one, in my opinion. Another key area for those other 23 hours of your day, or another reason why it's important and why it matters, is because daily habits, they have a compounding effect. So those small decisions that you make each and every day, something like, taking the stairs, stretching, drinking water, saying no to junk food, like those small decisions you make throughout the rest of your day, the 23 hours of your day, they may seem, small or insignificant at the time, on their own, but they compound over time with major results, major progress. Or if you are indulging those things, it may be a serious setback, maybe a major setback. So those little things, they compound into bigger things throughout your day. You're doing a lot of things throughout those other 23 hours of your day. So each and every little step that you take in the right direction, it's going to have a bigger effect for the overall day. Yeah, maybe a small decision at that one given period of time, but when you make those small decisions throughout the day, they make up a bigger decision. So those daily habits are going to compound. That's another reason this rule is important. And then the last reason why this rule is so important and why it matters is because of your mental health and your discipline. So how you handle stress, how you structure your time, how you manage your mindset throughout those other 23 hours of your day. This is going to determine whether you stay consistent, whether you burn out, whether you're sticking true to your goals. So think fitness is just as mental as it is physical. Most people think of physical fitness, when you think of fitness, because they think of working out. But you got to have the right mindset around it too, because if you get a negative mindset around it, you're going to just give up. You're going to quit. You're not going to stick to it. You're going to say, why am I doing this? This is not worth it. This sucks. This is not fun. And you're going to end up quitting. So it's just as mental as it is physical. So how to use the 23-in-1 rule to your advantage. So we'll talk about some ways that you can apply this rule to your day, every day, try to help you win the day. So number one, dial in your nutrition. So meal prep, track your calories, or your macros if that works for you. And at the very least, just be mindful of what you're putting into your body. Every single bite, think of it this way: every bite is a vote for or against your goal. So whatever your goal is, every bite you take is either going to be for that goal or it's going to be against that goal. So remember that. Number two, you want to prioritize your sleep. So aim for 7 to 9 hours of solid rest. Set a consistent bedtime and set a consistent wake up time. When you go to bed at night, go ahead and wind down like 30 minutes before. And this is going to be great for that recovery piece that we talked about earlier. Your muscles and your brain need that recovery time. So make sure you're getting in adequate sleep. And you need to prioritize it. Number three, move throughout the day. So if you can, while you're at work, take a walk, do some stretching, do some body weight movements if you have a break. Don't let your gym session when you're working out, don't let that be the only time of the day that you move. And I'm bad about this because I work a desk job, so I'm prone to doing this. I will find myself sitting at the desk for many hours at a time when I need to get up and move. So I try to be more thoughtful about it throughout the day. I got one of those little stand-up desks, so I will stand up and work at my desk sometimes, or I'll just go out and take a little stroll around my job site, try to walk a little bit to get some steps in, get some movement in, and not be so sedentary all day. So if you have an office job, I know this is going to be harder to do, but if you can, get up and go for a walk. At the least, try to go for a walk after your meals. So like when you go to lunch, after your lunch, take like a little 10-minute walk after your lunch. This is going to be good, not only for movement throughout the day, but also good for digestion as well. Number four, protect your mindset. So you want to, read, meditate, journal, or listen to something positive, something motivating. This is going to help you with mental clarity. Mental clarity is good for, fueling your physical progress, having your mindset right each and every day. Like I said, it's just as a mental game as it is a physical game. And then number five, be intentional. So plan your day ahead. Do it in the morning or do it the night before. Plan it, write it out. Structure your time around your goals. Plan the time to go to the gym, put it in your calendar, put it as a meeting on your calendar, and don't miss it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Don't just let, hours slip away. You got to be proactive and own those hours. So for me, I live and die by my reminders app on my phone. Also my calendar. If it's not on my calendar or if it's not in my reminders on my phone, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to remember to do it. I got so many things I got to do each and every day. So I live and die by my reminders app. I do. I don't know what I would do without it. I really wouldn't, because everything I got to do, I put in there every day. And then I have some things that are recurring that they renew on there. I got them set up to where they automatically renew on there every single day so that I know how to do them, or I know that I need to do them. And then I'll check them off as I do them. I hit the little check mark and checks it off for the day. So that's just me trying to be intentional to, set myself up for success for the rest of the day, for those other 23 hours of my day. So how can you apply this rule outside of fitness? So, the 23 rule is it's not just about fitness. It can apply to every area of your life. Your relationships. It's not just about that one big date night. You probably have one date night. I don't know. Some people do it a week, every other week, month, whatever it is. That one big date night. It's not about that day. Yeah, that day is great, and that's awesome. But what are you doing every other day? What are those little daily actions that you're doing to build trust? To connect with your partner. It's those little things that go a long way. Yeah, the one date night that you have, That's great. That's awesome. That's like your 1 hour in the gym. But what you do every other day or all the other times of the day, because there's little daily actions that kind of build up, and make a big impact over time. So in business, or if you're in school, it's not about like that one test that you got to take, the final at the end of the class, or that one big meeting you have at work coming up. It's about the hours that you spent preparing for the test, that you spent studying, learning, growing, preparing for it. It's not about just that one meeting. It's about what you did leading up to that meeting. And then also in personal development, it's not about just one motivational speech you got to do. It's about your daily habits, your mindset, the things that you did to be able to give that motivational speech in the first place. Like, people aren't just going to listen to you, speak about something if you're not ahead of them in that category, whatever you're talking about. So when you realize that the majority of your progress comes from quiet, unseen moments, that's when everything starts to change. Like when you realize the bulk of your results are going to come from the times when nobody's looking, when nobody's watching. Are you doing the right thing when nobody's looking? That's the definition of integrity. Do you have integrity? Are you doing what's right when no one's looking? So think of that. Like in the gym, in that 1 hour, you're probably doing what's right. You're probably in there working out, doing everything right. But those other 23 hours of the day, are you doing what's right? Like, are you going in the closet and binge eating some snacks in the closet because you want nobody to see you? Are you putting the right foods in your mouth? Recovering right, getting your mind right, things like that. Because if you're not, you're going to be diminishing your results when it comes to your fitness journey. So, what you do in that 1 hour in the gym is very, very important. But it's what you do in the other 23 hours every day that's going to define your success. It's going to be, that bigger, going to help you get to that bigger picture, that bigger goal. So let this rule be a reminder that fitness is more than just a workout. It's more than just going to the gym. It's kind of a way of life. You have to embrace it 24 hours a day, not just the 1 hour a day you're in the gym. It's 24 hours a day. So show up consistent, do the little things, and then watch your results. Watch the results happen over time. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead, like and subscribe. Share this episode with a friend. I'd appreciate it. We're on YouTube, all podcast platforms. Leave a review, leave a comment, do the things that y'all do. And I appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope you have a great day, great week. Apply this rule in your life. Go ahead and apply this rule. What are y'all gonna do to apply this rule? It's a great rule to live by, a philosophy to live by. And yeah. Until next time, y'all take care of those other 23 hours. I'm going to be watching y'all, what y'all doing in those other 23 hours. I know y'all killing in the gym. I know y'all in the gym. I know y'all getting right. But if you ain't getting right those other 23 hours, then what you doing? So y'all got this. Peace, love, protein. We out.